Welcome to the Major Margins Podcast, a podcast about how to increase your profits in a major way. Each week, we'll cover all things about managing your funds, increasing your profits, and to create healthy cash flow in your business and life. We'll have your favorite entrepreneurs talk about how they transform their money and business for the better. And I'm your host, Ayana Vaughn. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Major Margins Podcast. Now, before we get into this interview, I want to tell you a little bit about my thought process for what I call Black Wealth Month. For the month of February, I will be showcasing 4 interviews with 5 different entrepreneurs and founders, all about how to build wealth in your life and business. And at the end of the series, you'll have actionable advice just to build wealth for yourself today on your standards. For Black History Month, I want us to create history in real time today. And instead of talking about each other online, I want us to talk amongst each other. Before we get into the interview, I want to go over and give a super shout out to a listener. This one is from ML Banks. I love Ayana's engaging personality. I just listened to the episode 1 about her story and really enjoyed hearing her personality shine through. I also don't allow too many podcasts to be in my queue, but with financial health being a major focus of my business this year, I'm really looking forward to listening and feel like this content plus her way of breaking this stuff down has been missing from these internet streets. Thank you for creating this for those of us who are new and growing in our businesses. Thank you so much for reviewing. I definitely want to showcase any people who show love because this is all about you guys. I'm doing this all for you so that you can get just this value and just curating the best of the best on this podcast. Just 7 years ago, Jamal and Natasha were single and praying to God over their future spouses and learning how to break destructive cycles of their own. They knew it meant the health of their future marriage. After meeting on Facebook, the digital love story took the world by storm. Clearly recognizing the need for transformational content to teach others how to do relationships in God's way, God gave them an idea for a brand. And together they founded Miller Global Enterprises, now the parent company of 2 widely known brands, Married and Young, and online programs such as the One University and Profit and Purpose Academy. They have since been featured in Forbes, BET, Jet Magazine, and have been guests on a CBN segment, all in a grand effort to reduce the divorce rate in America. With a team of writers, Married and Young reaches an online audience in the hundreds of thousands, and the One University has graduated over 7,000 students. Jamal is an Amazon bestselling author of 25 Ways to Prepare for Marriage Other Than Dating, the CEO of Miller Global Enterprises, and founder of Profit and Purpose. Natasha is the creator and founder of the Fearless Woman Mentorship Program, and both are associate pastors at All Nations Worship Assembly in Chicago. Together they have 2 beautiful daughters, Harvest Ann and Melody Grace. So today I will be interviewing both Jamal and Natasha Miller. I met them in 2017, and it has been such an honor and blessing to watch them grow to what their business is today. And we talk candidly about just basically who they had to become in their life and their business to grow to their success today. We got so wrapped up in our conversation that they didn't get to share where to follow them. Follow their page, Married and Young, on Facebook and on Instagram. And please go to marriedandyoung.com. Thank you both so much for joining us on the Major Margins Podcast. So thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Jamal. It's so great to have you.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ayana, we're excited to be here. Long time coming. This is super, super, super exciting, and we're honored to be a part.
Yes. So I don't know if you guys know, but of course you guys are one of my first podcast guests, and just whipping off with February being all about Black Wealth Month. And I thought, no guys better than having you both on to talk about that and kind of starting the conversation around it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's been such a cool journey getting to where we are today. So now just the opportunity to talk it out and hopefully we can help someone else as they are on their journey of building real wealth.
Absolutely. So just tell us a little bit about yourselves individually and kind of like coming together and about the journey in the business.
Absolutely. So the journey really began. We both were single. Natasha will probably tell her part of the journey.
Yeah.
But for me, it started off me being a single man right out of college. I had just moved to Chicago and was now kind of getting into that, I guess you can say, the mindset of now, okay, I'm a grown man now, right? I'm,
Mm,
paying real bills and real
right.
responsibilities. Along with that season comes, okay, when am I going to get in that real relationship? And so I think for every man, it comes that moment where you're done kind of playing games and you're really ready to level up and start thinking about what would it look like to build a family. And so for me, when I went into that mindset, the first thing was like, man, I ain't got no potentials around me. And so I think for me, it immediately, I went to the Lord and I'm like, God, how is this supposed to work? And God said something to me that was so kind of unique. He's basically, I felt in my heart, how can you be so focused on trying to find the one when you haven't done the work to be the one? And
Mm,
that thing really hit me. And that's when I went into a season of really focusing on me as a single man. That am I a person that I would want to join myself with another person and give who I am today to someone else? And I couldn't say I was at that place in my life with some of the things that I was still doing and thinking and my maturity levels and especially my money. I was like, yeah, I mean, I want to give some more time and focus in on these things before I go out here and really find the one. And so after that season, that's when, one day I was scrolling on Facebook and saw a beautiful Black woman by the name of
mm-hmm.
Natasha Zambrano that I didn't know who she was. And I was like, how do I not know who this girl is? And so I shot her a DM and the rest is history. And it's been a super cool journey. So that's kind of how the beginning of my journey in regards to how we met.
Yeah, yes. I always love hearing him share his part of the story.
Right.
Yes, but it's very true. Like I can just kind of give a background of who I was before I met him. So we do have very similar journeys to where like at a very young age, I knew that I wanted to get married and have a healthy marriage. I didn't have that many healthy examples of what marriage looked like around me, but I knew, just even in high school, I would talk to friends and they were having boyfriend problems and there would be drama happening at school. And I was just like, oh my gosh, is this real life? Like, do I have to go through this in order to find love? So I always kind of had that mindset. So, just going into my young adult years, I knew that he was going to strategically, allow my path to cross with someone who I believe he designed specifically for me. So, all through, I would say for the almost half of my young adult years, I dated here and there, but nothing serious. During that season of, being single, I really devoted my time to helping other women who were in the same season as me to enjoy their season of being single, of knowing that, hey, it's not a death sentence. You're not, weird or, God hasn't forgotten about you, that, during your season of waiting, there is so much that you could be doing to prepare your heart and your life for when that time comes. So as I was serving women, in my community and just kind of devoting my time to just becoming the best me is when I actually added Jamal on Facebook. So I added him, I think it was 2009 or 2011, and we became Facebook friends. And then a few years later in 2012, he sent me the first message via Facebook. And then from there, we just started communicating back and forth, and we saw that we had similar interests, and the rest is history after that. So it's been really cool to be able to see what our journey has been from just because we're celebrating 7 years in July, and to see all of the amazing things that we've been able to do with encouraging like our world around us of what it means to, have healthy relationships.
Right, right. Well, first, congratulations on 7 years coming up. And
Thank
that
you.
kind of goes down to one, how you guys created what you have right now, like your empire that you've created together,
Mhm.
and really being servants and helping people understand how they can be whole within themselves, listen to God's message and really be that person that they desire to have in the future as a partner and kind of bringing that into fruition for themselves. So tell us a little bit about the business that you've created together.
Yep. So soon after meeting and getting basically about maybe a year or so later, once we got engaged, and then once we got engaged, friends and family were constantly asking us how, where, who was this person? Where did she come from? Where did he come from? Who is this guy? You know, they were asking us, and I said, hey, instead of us trying to travel the world, because we at this point, I'd done a trip to California, and then she had done a trip to Louisiana, and we brought all our friends and family together to kind of tell them what happened. But then there were still those people outside of our immediate family that didn't understand or knew the real story. So what we did was we decided to film this story. We sat down in my home in Louisiana and we filmed it, and we called it the Facebook Love Story, and we just told how we met. And we didn't know what we were doing at the time. We were not planning to launch a brand. We were not trying to build a business. We were not trying to get attention. We weren't trying to build an audience. We simply were, if anybody asked us how we met, we can just be like, go, here's the YouTube video, go watch it. And so that was the reason why we did it. And once we did do it, we called it Facebook Love Story. I remember, editing it on the way home back to Chicago and uploading it, no idea what I was doing. And then literally thousands of views, people comments. We're like, okay, this is different, And so someone after we got married had commented and said, hey guys, love this video. I just need to know, is this real? Are y'all still married? Was this a joke? Because I mean, you got to know that we met online. So I think this is 7 years ago when Christians meeting online was still very like, Christians don't do that,
Right.
And so, I was like, hey, people really are looking at millennials like marriage is a joke. We should change the narrative. And that's when we got the idea to just create an online blog that would just talk about healthy relationships. And so we invited some friends as guest bloggers. And maybe about 6 months after we got married, we launched marriedandyoung.com, and it became the place where we were able to create content around healthy relationships. And we had no idea what we were doing until one of my mentors put me aside and was like, hey, Jamal, I saw you guys launched a blog. Do you guys know what you're doing? I was like, nah, we're just enjoying creating content and helping people. And he's like, hey man, like, what are your numbers? And I was like, we got like 25, 30,000 people visiting every month. He's like, are you serious? Do you understand? You make a lot of money? And I'm like, I was like, man, how do you make money blogging? And he's like, okay, all right, we need to sit down. He's like, hey, and he's like, he was just getting into the world as well. But so now I really understand this. He's like, all right, we're going to sit down. I'm going to do a free brand consulting session with you. He's like, this is what I do now. And I'm like, okay, whatever, So he sits me down and me and Natasha, and he begins to walk through the online marketing in its basic form. And he began to break down the online marketing business and information marketing and how to build an audience. And he's like, well, the next thing you have to do, you need to monetize. And I'm like, how do you monetize? He's like, you need to create something. I'm like, create what? Just like all the So what I ended up doing was just writing a book, and I wrote my book, 25 Ways to Prepare for Marriage. And like I said, still at this point, we had no plan. We were just really wanting to help people. And that's where the business really began to form. Give or take 3 years later, we stumbled into real definition of helping to reduce the divorce rate in America by helping single men and women prepare for marriage. And that objective really drove us to creating a series of programs and online conferences and, the One University. And these things began to do the thing that you need in order to build a successful business, is we began to build products that truly were changing people's lives.
Wow. And tell us, when was your first video? And then when did you do your blog post? Because I want people to have like context on when that was, because now it's so normal to kind of monetize the site, but it's like you just literally was documenting your life and turned it into what it is today.
Yeah. So we actually recorded the Facebook Love Story in 2013. So right after he proposed to me, we then recorded it at his home. And then we got married in July of 2013 is when we got married. And then we ended up launching Married and Young in January of 2014.
Wow. So it's like just literally just like, this is
It
Just
was super fast.
documenting. Right,
Was
right.
documenting, and it was just so amazing. And when we first launched it on Facebook, we got over 1,000 likes like in the first day, and people were sharing
Mm-hmm.
all of the content. And then from there it just kept building this momentum that has just kept going ever since.
Right. As you guys were talking about your goal into decreasing the divorce rate in America, I was literally just writing like filling in the gap, because there
Yeah.
was a gap between millennials like understanding the concept of marriage
Mhm.
and getting ready for that. And you literally filled in the gap naturally by just documenting your own success and your stories and things like that,
Mhm.
just being candid about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, and from there, I mean, it was not the easiest road to get to where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
Once we got serious about it, I would say, I wrote my book. And at that point, we had like 40,000 visitors per month to the website. And so in my mind, I'm like, I got 40,000 people coming every month to the website. If I can just get 39,000 of these people to buy my book, we're rich. Like, this is it. I'm like, babe, life is never going to be the same again, girl. We about to, what I'm saying? Dr. Jamal Miller to the rescue. We about to be rich. And so that was that novice mindset towards building an audience,
Mm-hmm.
because you think that everybody's going to buy your thing. And so,
Exactly.
which was not true at all. I mean, we ended up making maybe $2,000-3,000. And whenever the book sale stopped, I was like, this is it. Like, this is like 2 months worth of rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't
Right.
what am I supposed to do with this? How am I supposed to, have a family on this? How am I supposed to build it, and all these, because in my mind, I'm going off my mentor who's like, hey, yeah, write a book. You're going to be rich. This is, you can make a lot of money. And I'm just like, so you think it's going to be immediate when it absolutely 100% is not.
Mm.
And so from there, I got pretty sad. I was like, man, I got to get a real job. I need to stop playing
Mm-hmm.
around. I need to get a real job. And I made some pretty drastic decisions, out of that. But just grateful to God, maybe about a year later, I picked it back up again and said, okay, I'm going to try this again. I really believe this wasn't just I think what I ended up doing was I got too focused. I switched my gauge from purpose to just making money. And I lost the aim of it
Mm-hmm.
being something that truly was just helping people. And out of the overflow of helping people, you will make money. But when you become just so focused on just making money, you forget to do the thing that matters most, which is just truly serving your audience. And out of that, you will benefit from it. And so it really is a tension you have to manage between purpose and profit, period. Like the ability to be in purpose and also profit, it's not one or the other, it's both but it requires managing both the tensions between the two, because a lot of people can be in purpose and not make any money, and then you end up not being able to do purpose because purpose costs money, because your business costs money to run. So soon after that book moment, we came back to just, hey, we're going to give this another try. And that's when we began to do the online conferences. And at this point, Natasha's pregnant with our first child, and she's about to have harvest, and then I'm working a part-time job, barely making ends meet. So we end up having to go even on food stamps at this moment. And at that point, I really just said, God, we really need a breakthrough. And so that's when we began to do weekly webinars. And as we're doing these weekly webinars, because I said, I want to just serve our audience, and we're going to just do web classes every week. Well, one of the things that when we were doing that is we began to learn what our audience really wanted versus us trying to figure it out. We got in there with them every week, giving them content and learning what they were responding to. And that's when we stumbled on the concept of, I said, hey guys, I'm tired of just talking to y'all about trying to find the one. How about y'all become the one? And when we said that, they just lit up in the chat room. And then, we were like, man, if we create a program called Becoming the One, how many of y'all would want to buy that? Everybody was like, me. So we took the next 2-3 weeks and we created this program called Becoming the One, about a maybe 5-module course. And that's when things began to shift and change.
Yeah.
From there, we ended up turning the Becoming the One course into an online conference. And the online conference was the Online Singles Conference. And this conference, the first one we did, ended up generating $40,000 in revenue. But this comes after 2 years of just serving our audience and building our email list and learning what they really wanted. Then when we did the Online Singles Conference, we cast that thing out there, they bit. And from the Online Singles Conference, that's when I was able to come off my job full-time. Natasha was home full-time with Harvest. And that's whenever we really began to see our business accelerate, when I was able to come home full-time and focus on the business.
Wow, and that's just like the saying, like overnight success takes years in the making
Yeah.
and being patient on your journey. So,
Yeah.
wow, that's amazing. So, as you're making that consistent income and going into full time, what changes did you have to make within yourself to be able to go from this successful start in business and getting all of these different programs to then the next milestone of that growth and just kind of hitting and rolling with those punches on each milestone and growth in your business, whether it be hitting another revenue milestone, growing your team,
Mhm.
and creating that business structure that can create a legacy for your future?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a journey because my husband and I were first generation entrepreneurs. So we didn't come from, like families that had a whole bunch of money and they were saying, hey, go start a business. It was more like, hey, go to school and find a good job, make your money each year and, live your life. So for us, it was very new to where we definitely had some bumps in the road of just learning how to manage this this business and the finances that were coming in, of knowing that, okay, yes, when we first had the online singles conference and we made $40,000, we were just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Let's go on vacation. You know what I mean? So then we go on vacation and then we come back and we're realizing, okay, like we still have to keep creating products. We still have to keep being innovative so that we can continue to sustain the lifestyle that we desire to have. And then as we continue to create products and began to dream and just see that, hey, you know what? We cannot build this company by ourselves. We need other
Mhm.
voices. We need other men and women who believe in the vision that we have. And from there, we began to start seeking out that help and realizing that, my husband, he's literally self-taught. Okay. I remember when
Mhm.
we first started the blog, that we were on WordPress. I mean, he figured out how to create a website. I mean, the man is brilliant. So literally, this whole business was created in his mind, right? So it's
Mhm.
been a process for him to learn how to, bring other people in and to say that, hey, here's your zone of genius, here's my zone of genius. We're all going to come in together and we're going to create this beautiful, amazing world. Okay. And we're going to continue to help this vision, move forward. So I think for me personally, on my end, like I'm not in the day to day of the business, like the analytics and all of that. So I've been able to really kind of see, I would describe it kind of like an eagle that's kind of flying above, and wherever there's issues, I'm coming in to help save and help be present and all of that. But it's been this evolution. I think like I've seen such amazing growth in my husband, even just growth in me and learning how to sustain this success. Because now that we are successful and we have more vision, it's more responsibility. So we're learning now that we have to learn how to manage better. We have to now think about investing, even thinking about how to protect ourselves, legally. It's just this whole new world. So I would say that, we're still on that journey of learning. And at times it's been easy and fun. And then at times it's been hard.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would definitely say it just required an immense amount of patience.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have a lot of that in the very beginning. A lot of it came out of the place of, because it came so fast, I thought that
That's
I'm
fair.
going to have to work fast to keep it, or it's all going to go away.
Mhm.
So versus really pausing and really having time to think, what do I really want? I was telling my team this the other day, that a lot of the moments in the very beginning were really birthed out of crisis. And I
Mhm.
never really had an opportunity to take time and really think, okay, now that we're not in crisis anymore, what is it that we really want? What are we really aiming to do? What are we really trying to make a dent in this world? And what are the true objectives that are driving our day to day? What's going to make not only myself as a CEO, but all of my team members want to get out of bed every day and contribute to this cause, to this business? Because the last thing I want is to create a culture where people are working for me and it's just a job. If that's it,
Mhm.
please get out as soon as possible. Please quit. Please resign. Please, if it's just a job for you, then I promise you, you will not like it here, because I want purpose driven men and women around me, because I know then you're going to create the best work that you are proud of. And right now, that's what we're aiming after. It went from, man, let me just pay these bills, to now my inner drive is I want to employ the world in purpose. Every man and woman who is struggling with their 9 to 5, that hates their job, but they have gifts and skills that are dormant, and their job doesn't care enough to help bring the best out of them. I want to hire you, and I want to put you in purpose so that you can love your life again, because your work is a big part of your life. And so that's why we're doing what we do. We have a big objective and a big reason why we exist. But I want to not only be a solution to my customers, but I want to be a solution to my employees, to my team, to the people that work alongside me, and help change the narrative about work, that work can be fun, work can be exciting, work can be exhilarating, work can be a place of fulfillment versus grudge and frustration and hatred. And I can't wait to leave this place. And people don't understand how much that affects your life when every day you are having to force yourself to go to a place to work. And that's been something that has been super cool, because you really don't, for me, that wasn't a problem that I thought I would be solving when I first started this business. For those that are listening, when you do end up launching your business or launching anything, you may launch it with one idea and one concept, but there may be so many more things that come out of what you launch and what you create. And to me, that is the beauty of entrepreneurship.
Right, right. That's amazing. I know this might be a question people ask, and I'm going to ask it for them on behalf of them. What was the feeling that you guys got when you kind of realized that you became $1 million business?
Yeah, it was like, I don't like, for me, I've been really bad at like documenting and documenting and celebrating the big moments. Like people have to tell me, I think God gave me that in order to make it to where I don't ever get boastful or get comfortable. Because when I tell you what we're doing right now is nowhere near enough, like I'm not satisfied. But then I have so many people that are like, hey, bro, I know you're not satisfied, but you've done what 95% of Americans will never, ever do. You know, I'm like, okay, all right, I mean, for sure, that's great. You know,
there's a balance with that, because I think there's a level of celebration,
right,
that should come from working hard. And I think for us, we both are very humble people, to where there are moments where I'm like, oh my goodness, we are actually doing this. Oh my gosh, we actually have 200,000 people a part of this challenge. Oh my gosh, we just made a documentary, and I'm still in awe. Like when people share their story of how our program helped them, like even how my husband said that it's kind of, I think it's just a grace that the Lord's put on our lives to be able to handle, the success of knowing that at the end of the day, we know that we're solving a problem. And there's going to be people all over the world who are going to be solving different problems. And this is just the specific problem that, we've been assigned to. So knowing that, what we have, we want to be good stewards of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would say down to the core, for me, of being a 7-figure business owner, it really does just bring another level of responsibility. It's like, okay, we have been given something that many people will never be able or even taste or experience. Okay, how do we, like Natasha says, steward this well? And the only reason why, and this is one of my life principles, is stewardship. And it's something that has, gotten me to where I am today. When you are faithful with the small, God will make you ruler over much. And I live by that principle. Whatever you have in front of you right now, whatever's in your possession, how you steward it will unlock the next thing that you are looking to accomplish. So for me, it's like, okay, I'm at $1 million. The same principle that I applied when I had $5,000 to my name or $1,000 to my name was, okay, how do I steward this 1,000? How do I steward this 5,000? All right, now we just made $40,000. There's $40,000 in my bank account right now. All right, Jamal, how do I steward this well?
Yeah.
All right, I'm not going to go out here and buy a brand new car. I'm going to pay off the car I have and keep driving it, number one. Number two, how do I steward this well? I'm going to invest back into myself and my knowledge and my ability to now grow this 40K into another. I steward it. I didn't waste it. I didn't go and frivolously just spend and, go out here and buy a brand new car, brand new house, all those things. And so for me, same thing with $1 million. It was like, okay, Jamal, now we're at 7 figures. How do we steward this well to grow this next level that God wants?
And another thing too that's key is that as a business owner, I believe that you truly have to have integrity. Okay, integrity is key, especially when you are dealing with people and you're creating products that you believe in, that can change people's lives. And I've seen in our business, our ability to have integrity in every hard situation where we could have, manipulated the moment, or we could have, bombarded the moment. We've been just very strategic and intentional with making sure that, okay, what's my motive in this? Am I doing this because I'm money hungry? Am I doing this because I want to control? Just knowing that, because when you're making a lot of money, you have a lot of influence and you have a lot of power. It's easy, to fall into that category of feeling as if everything is, you're invincible. And I think as an entrepreneur, like we keep saying, using that word stewardship is being able to steward, what you have well and be a man and woman of integrity. Because I believe that will carry you farther than you could ever dream or imagine, because whatever your company is, whatever your name is, you don't want your name to be, dragged into the ground. You want people to be able to see your business and have good thoughts of like, wow, man, they're the real deal. Like they really do love their customers. They're super intentional with them. So I found that that's been, a powerful, thing in our business, is that we do really strive to be integrous in everything that we do.
Right. And just when you were like the byproduct of you being great stewards and being patient and fulfilling the desire to be purposeful is your success in your business right now. And I like to think that like your story, everything that you've been through leading up to this point isn't for you. It's like something from God so that you can be a blessing to others, so that you can share that journey, share that story to help someone else. And that's exactly what you guys have done and continue to do. And that's exactly where you're saying that you kind of know where your success comes from.
Yeah, it's an honor. It's a privilege. Like, we're just Jamal and Natasha Miller that loved you, that wanted to live in purpose. People ask Natasha, how do you get into this? Like, how do you, and I'm to be honest, I'm amazed at times. I'm like, Lord, what? Okay, you want me to do this? To where I have to make sure that I'm staying in a place of humility, of understanding that, okay, in order to serve our audience well, I have to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, that I'm staying spiritually connected and I'm being integrous. And that, to be honest, this world and this generation really wants to see authenticity. So I think with what we've been able to provide, like you said, of being able to bring them on our journey with us from, conception to now, people like we have people who were following us when we first started, and they went through all of our material, and now they're getting married and they thank us for it. And even just recently, one of our customers, she sent us a message and say, hey, you guys, I don't know if you guys remember me. And we knew her because she was in all of our, webinars and all of that. And she told us that she got engaged, and it just blessed my socks off. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is happening. And it aligns with our whole intent in the beginning, which was to decrease the divorce rate, So it's just cool how everything aligns. To be honest, even the hard moments that we've gone through as a business and as a company has been totally worth it, especially being able to get to this point now in our business to where we have clarity, we have a healthy team, and we know where we're going. It's really exciting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yes, thank you so much for sharing everything and your journey and pretty much your mindset from where you were before to where you are now, so that you can continue to serve. Well, you've definitely given tips about just really staying the course. Do you have any other tips that you can think of for business owners who are starting and kind of want to be a successful business owners like yourselves?
Yeah, my biggest tip is to learn your audience better than they know themselves.
Yes, I agree.
Learn your audience and become a student of your audience. Become a student of your avatar. Become a student of your customers. Become a student of those that are drawn to the problem that you are solving, and learn them. Learn the in and out of their pain. Learn what's happening around their pain. Learn what's coming out of their pain. Learn what's the benefit of solving their pain. Like, you become an expert in your customer, on your customer's life, and to the point to where you can write a book on their life. And that's what we've been able to do. At this point, we can write books on the stories and the lives that we've helped. And because of that, it keeps us connected to our audience. So when we create products, we know exactly who we're creating it for. And we're not doing it out of just, oh, I want to just
quick fix.
You know, and so, yeah, it's a real solution. So that's my biggest tip. Learn your audience.
Ditto.
That's such an amazing tip.
Ditto.
Right. That is.
It's important. If you learn them, then people are going to trust you. You know, when they celebrate a milestone in their life, they're going to come back and share that milestone. So it's like this big circle of relationships, like the circle of life.
Right. But that's so true, because it's such an amazing tip. And even when you start practicing this, you'll just care even more about the people that you serve.
100%.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So gearing towards Black wealth, what does Black wealth mean to the both of you?
Yeah, Black wealth to me just means empowerment. It just it's opportunity, period.
Right.
And so for me, being able to now be an African American that has the ability to attain wealth, I'm empowered with opportunities to now go forth and change the world and be able to be a change in the narrative. I'm very proud. I remember whenever we got featured in Forbes magazine, it was just like, okay, now we're making a stamp, you know, making a footprint in the world, and continuing on the legacy of those that have trailblazed before us, our, you know, our ancestors and our grandparents and our parents that have cried out for our people to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and be able to have not only the work ethic, but also the intelligence to be able to move forward. And so we've always been hard workers, but now we are shifting into being intelligent, working smart, and not just hard. So being, you know, Black wealth to me is empowerment with opportunities.
Black wealth for me is legacy. I believe in family. I believe in every generation having the opportunity to be more and to do more. So I believe that when you obtain wealth, you know, as an African American man or woman, you're now setting up the stage for your, you know, great grandchildren and their children. So for me, that's what excites me, is knowing that, yes, my husband and we've been able to obtain a certain amount of wealth, and that our daughters will never go without. But to know that as we keep building and working hard, that their children, they're going to supersede and exceed what they even experienced. So Black wealth to me definitely is attached to legacy. I'm proud to be able to, you know, give this to the next generation that's in my bloodline, and to create opportunities for them to where they don't have to look outside of, you know, their family or outside of their community, that they have the opportunity to choose within.
Wow, I literally got chills like hearing you guys' definition of Black wealth. And it's literally like creating new sets of DNA for your lineage going forward. Because, you know, everything that we've been through leading up to this point, it's like now, you know, you can heal for your ancestors, or start that healing process to create that new DNA for your family going forward. Beautiful.
And I love it. And I'm so happy that you are doing this for the month of February, because I feel like it's so needed. Because to be honest, we don't get asked that question a lot in regards to Black wealth. But even just sharing my answer, it just ignited my heart to just even work harder and to tell my children about their history, and knowing that, hey, you don't have to explain yourself. Like, you can be unapologetically you. Because I think too, as African Americans, there is a level of shame that when we do get into wealth, you could, I know even for me, I feel like having money, like, okay, is this normal? Is it going to run out? Is something bad going to happen? And to be honest, I'm still working through that, because sometimes it feels just too good to be true. But I think that, like, I know that I'm not the only African American woman who has success who thinks like that, because of just our ancestral background, you know, of things being taken away from us and so forth. So I think too, like you said, healing the DNA, and knowing that I may not be able to change our whole race, but knowing that I can start with my bloodline. And starting there, it's just powerful of knowing that, hey, they don't ever have to be ashamed of who they are or where they come from, and that they get to make decisions, and they're going to have, money is power, and not in an unhealthy way, but money allows you to obtain certain opportunities sometimes. And I think too, thinking bigger of knowing that, hey, there's so much more to life, in knowing that I want my children to be world changers, like we're world changers. And whatever that looks like, whether it's business, whether it's in the medical field, whether it's in Peace Corps, whatever it is, whatever it's doing an online company like us, I just want them to have the opportunity to change the world and find a solution for the world that they live in.
Wow, beautifully put. And I don't have anything else.
It's powerful. I love that.
Yeah, right. Thank you guys so much for being on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this has been a beautiful conversation, and I definitely know it will inspire whoever is listening, and they're thanking you for your message. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ayana. We appreciate it.
Yes. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us on this week of the Major Margins podcast. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Lovely Financials and at lovelyfinancials.com to learn more about mastering your cash flow. I'd really appreciate if you rate and subscribe to catch every new episode. See you next Tuesday.